Apple's global supply chain strategy. The symphony of seamless execution. Apple's supply chain is a proof to strategic foresight, relentless optimization, and a willingness to challenge conventional wisdom. If you've ever wondered how millions of iPhones, MacBooks, and iPads reach consumers globally with such precision and speed, you're about to uncover the operational brilliance behind the magic. The genesis of genius, from Cupertino to the world. Apple's evolution from a modest garage startup to a prominent global technology leader is inextricably connected to the advancements in its supply chain. Like many nascent companies, Apple focused on domestic production in its early days. However, as ambitions grew and product lines diversified, a fundamental shift occurred, a deliberate and aggressive pivot towards globalizing its operations. It wasn't just about cost reduction, although that was a significant factor. It was about scale, specialization, and speed to market, three pillars that would come to define its operational ethos. Consider this: building an iPhone requires components from dozens of countries, which are assembled in another location, and then distributed worldwide. This complex dance necessitates an efficient, resilient, and adaptable supply chain. Apple understood early on that its operational capabilities would be as crucial to its success as its innovative product design. Vertical disintegration, the illusion of control. Here's where Apple truly defies some traditional operations management paradigms. While many companies strive for vertical integration, owning every step of the production process, Apple predominantly practices vertical disintegration. They design, market, and retail, but they don't manufacture the vast majority of their products themselves. Instead, they rely on a highly specialized network of contract manufacturers and component suppliers, predominantly in Asia. This strategy offers several profound advantages. Scalability. By outsourcing its manufacturing processes, Apple can swiftly adjust production levels in response to fluctuations in demand, thereby alleviating the need to maintain large-scale manufacturing facilities. This agility is critical in the fast-paced consumer electronics market. Specialization and expertise. Their partners, like Foxconn, are masters of mass production and assembly, possessing an unparalleled depth of expertise in these areas. Apple leverages this specialized knowledge, enabling it to focus on its core competencies: design, software, and marketing. Cost efficiency. Access to lower labor costs and established manufacturing ecosystems in countries like China allows Apple to maintain competitive pricing while enjoying healthy margins. Reduced capital expenditure. By not owning factories, Apple frees up significant capital that can be reinvested in research and development, marketing, and retail expansion. However, this disintegration also introduces significant challenges. The power of orchestrator-in-chief, master of the supply network. Despite not owning factories, Apple exerts almost unparalleled control over its supply chain. They are not just customers, they are the orchestrator-in-chief. This control is maintained through deep supplier relationships. Apple invests heavily in long-term, strategic partnerships with its key suppliers. It often includes providing upfront payments, technical assistance, and even shared R&D. These aren't transactional relationships, they are deeply collaborative. Rigorous auditing and quality control. Apple's quality standards are legendary. They have embedded teams of engineers and quality control specialists directly within their suppliers' facilities, ensuring adherence to their exacting specifications at every stage of production. This hands-on approach minimizes defects and helps maintain a brand's reputation. Intellectual property protection. Protecting their designs and proprietary technology is paramount. Apple implements stringent security protocols and legal agreements with its partners to safeguard its innovations. Demand forecasting prowess. While no forecast is perfect, Apple's ability to anticipate demand is incredibly sophisticated. They leverage vast amounts of sales data, market trends, and even psychological insights to predict consumer behavior, enabling them to pre-order components and schedule production effectively. Strategic location and logistics. The global footprint. Apple's supply chain isn't just about who makes what, it's about where and how quickly it moves. Concentrated production hubs. While components are sourced globally, final assembly is heavily concentrated in a few key locations, primarily China. It allows for economies of scale, specialized infrastructure, and a robust ecosystem of skilled labor and supporting industries. Air freight for speed. Apple famously utilizes air freight extensively for high-value, time-sensitive products. It allows them to get products into consumers' hands faster, capitalize on hype cycles, and reduce the risk of inventory obsolescence. While more expensive than sea freight, the speed-to-market advantage often outweighs the cost of premium electronics. Just-in-time principles, with a twist. Apple strives for the JIT delivery of components to assembly plants, minimizing inventory holding costs. However, given the global nature and potential for disruptions, they also maintain strategic buffers of critical components to mitigate risks. It's a calculated balance between lean principles and resilience. Advanced tracking and visibility. Real-time visibility across the supply chain is crucial. Apple employs sophisticated IT systems and data analytics to track every component and product, providing unparalleled insight into its global operations. Navigating the tides, challenges and resilience. Geopolitical risks, trade wars, political tensions, and sanctions can severely impact supply chain flows and costs. Apple is exposed to these dynamics due to its heavy reliance on Chinese manufacturing. Supply disruptions, natural disasters, such as earthquakes and floods, pandemics, as seen with COVID-19, and even localized protests can halt production and logistics, resulting in significant delays and revenue loss. Labor practices and ethical sourcing, scrutiny over labor conditions, human rights, and environmental impact within supplier factories is constant. Apple has invested heavily in auditing and programs to improve working conditions. However, maintaining oversight across thousands of facilities remains a continuous challenge. Dependency on key suppliers. Despite the characterization of Apple's supply chain as disintegrated, the company's reliance on a limited number of key partners for essential components, for instance, Samsung for displays and Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company for chips, presents a considerable risk of a single point of failure. Sustainability imperatives. As global awareness of climate change grows, Apple faces increasing pressure to make its supply chain more sustainable, from component sourcing to manufacturing processes and end-of-life recycling. To counter these challenges, Apple employs strategies like diversification. Cautious although still concentrated, Apple has begun to diversify its manufacturing operations to other countries, such as India and Vietnam, although on a smaller scale. Dual sourcing. Where feasible, Apple aims to have multiple suppliers for critical components to reduce reliance on a single entity. Proactive risk management. Investment in automation. Increasing automation in supplier factories can reduce reliance on labor and improve efficiency, though it also carries challenges. The future of Apple's supply chain, beyond the horizon. What's next for this giant? Expect Apple to continue deepening automation. Further investment in robotics and AI within manufacturing processes to enhance efficiency and consistency. Increased regionalization, a gradual shift towards more localized supply chains for specific products or markets to reduce transit times and mitigate geopolitical risks. Circular economy focus. Supply chain transparency, continued push for greater visibility and ethical accountability throughout its vast network. Leveraging data and AI, advanced analytics and artificial intelligence will become central to demand forecasting, logistics optimization, and risk management. Conclusion. A masterclass in operational excellence. Apple's supply chain strategy exemplifies operational excellence. It demonstrates that effective operations management encompasses efficiency, strategic partnerships, quality control, adaptability, and a customer delivery focus. Remember, maintain your curiosity and keep your skills sharp. Keep learning and thriving. Your future self will thank you.